This week, we are not in the shop. Doing another one of these videos. Stitches, what are we doing?
I feel like we just did this.
I forgot to hit record.
Yeah, it's okay. So we're going to hopefully buy either an 83 or an 84 KL600. So 3 electric start, only kickstart. It needs some help, but it's all within our realm.
Basically, a week ago today, I got the 89 NX 125 legally registered. It's on the road, and I've been tooling around with that thing, fine-tuning it, adjusting the carburetor, but riding it back and forth here and there, putting a couple miles on it. And because I have a street legal dual sport 125cc, Stitches over here decided he needs to have a street legal 600cc dual sport. You know, not really, but
I've always wanted one. My cousin's stepdad had one. I thought it was really cool. He had the KLR650, and I always wanted one, but never had the funds because, unfortunately, people price gouge the crap out of them, or they're so beaten that it's not worth it. This is a little bit more in my price point, so I figure even if something happens and it's not rebuildable, I could sell the parts, make my money back, and then some.
yeah, he's getting it for a steal of a price. I mean, he could probably sell the seat and the exhaust and make his money back. Pretty sure.
It's possible.
So, but
I mean, I know there's not a lot of demand for a kickstart only motorcycle, but some people have that niche. I know preppers, people that do the prepping and stuff for the end of the world like to have that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But I know it'll be a good investment. It'll be a good project for me. I love the idea of being able to drive down the road, or ride down the road, jump onto a trail, legally, of course, no trespassing, none of that stuff. But, go down a trail, come back out, and continue going down the road and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah. So, we're gonna keep on cruising down here. We've got, about an hour until we get there?
Yeah, it said 55 minutes.
So we're gonna keep on keeping on, and we'll check back with you once we get there.
Sounds good.
All right, we are back in the truck. We've got a box of parts, and back there we've got the KLR. They need some work. Stitches will go through on his phone because Noodle's over here. I gotta work today. It turns over. It has compression. There's no radiator for it, so he's gonna have to outsource a radiator. I'm sure he's gonna rebuild the whole cooling system, thermostat, water pump, the works. Just because it's at.
Doesn't have an air box.
Nope.
It's got 3 gas tanks.
Yep.
So
you'll make some of your money back on them.
Yep. We'll see which one's the best one. Maybe keep one off to the side as a spare, and sell the third.
Flea Bay, here we come.
You got it. That'll at least pay for the other parts that the bike needs.
Yep.
And
shocks are shot, completely shot. So
yeah, rear shock needs to be rebuilt or replaced.
If you guys remember, on the Suzuki GS1000, Stitches did he did a whole rebuild on those the fork seals. You did new oil, new springs, new seals. So that's gonna get the same work on this thing, and he's probably gonna look for a new rear shock.
See if I can get it rebuilt, get a little better spring rate, maybe find a company out there that actually will rebuild the originals. I'm sure somebody does it, we just don't know.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna guess that I'm probably never gonna ride this bike because he's gonna have it set up for him. And I know you guys have noticed he's bigger than me in the videos, but
just a wee bit.
He's 6'3", I'm 5'8", so I would have to have the bike standing like this to touch one leg down.
Yeah.
Short person problems.
All right, so I got the KLR600 home. You can see we're home. Off the truck. And I was kind of going through the box of parts. Now, the guy explained to us a little bit that he bought it with intentions of actually doing something with it. He didn't do anything with it. He just knew it was going to be too much for him. Not too much for him. he just felt like he was never going to get to it. I think that's the best way to put it. So doing like a quick once over and looking, doesn't have the radiator, so we'll have to get that. See here, better to go over the things it does have. So front fender, stock muffler, has one of the side panels, which I believe is the muffler side here, has one of the side pieces here for where the radiator would be, skid plate, headlight cover. It has 2 gas tanks, and I don't know what this one is for. This might be for the 600 as well, but you can see this one takes a different style of gas cap where it bolts on, so you can actually use a key, which I'd prefer that if that's what this is, rather than just a regular twist off. I think these are more like the trail for the trails, but we'll see what happens. Inside of them, they all don't look too terrible. This one's a little more rusty than the other two. This one's not bad. That one's not bad. But just looking over everything, there's another regulator here, coil wire. The ignition is here, but you can see it's been knocked out. So I'll be able to take the screws out, pull it apart, and see what's going on with that. I could at least use it to show that, you know, it's getting power through everything. I've got a couple different harnesses here. Brake light switch. Let's see here, the fan, cooling fan. This I noticed is seized. It's not, she ain't turning. It does come with another control, which is good because the choke on that one just broke. The plastic piece here just broke. It's going to need quite a few pieces. So just off the bat, the ignition, depending on what tank we end up using, it's going to need the locking gas cap and then a new helmet lock, because that ignition is obviously destroyed. Really the first thing we're going to do is kind of go through and figure out where you would hook a battery up. There's a lot of wiring here. A couple grounds are disconnected. Honestly, it looks like whoever had it before had 2 separate bikes and tried to make one, and that's why there's so many different pieces and parts everywhere. Or they had 2 different bikes, made one, and then this is what's left over. Which is fine. I've got a title for it. I don't care. It just means more work on our end. So it's not going to have spark because the ignition isn't hooked up, none of that stuff. But from what we could tell, it had pretty decent compression just from us trying to kick it over. Another thing I noticed was where the kickstand goes here, you can tell it broke off. They tried to weld it back on. Definitely gonna have to try and figure that out, whether we're cutting this off and cleaning all this up and re-welding and making our own kickstand, or what we're gonna do. Not quite sure. That wire's gonna be for a neutral, I believe, for the neutral light. We'll figure it all out. Alrighty, so jumping back to the KLR here. I went through and I probably spent an hour or two going through and testing all the electrical throughout. I took the speedo off here so I could try and mount the ignition properly, figure out what size bolts I need. I'm going to have to get a whole assortment of bolts because it's obviously missing quite a few of them. Let's see here. So going through testing everything, just trying to figure out, well, was it a safety switch that was bad? Maybe there was a safety switch that needed to be, maybe the clutch needed to be pulled in to get spark. Nope, maybe the shutoff over there, maybe it wasn't working properly. Nope, maybe the front brake had to be pulled. Nope. So everything I went through, and I was doing all the safety things. I even checked for the kickstand. That's non-existent. I connected the wires for the kickstand for it to read that the kickstand was down, and still nothing. Still got no spark. So I started going through, and I started using the volt ohm meter to start testing all the ohms. So the guy we got the bike from had the book for it, thank God. And so I went through, did the coil, the pickup coil, then I did the regular coil. I also did the voltage regulator, which is in here as well. I was just checking everything I could test. So, came down to doing the test on the CDI. So now, this is the original CDI here. Now there's a couple different part numbers for this bike. So I started going through and started testing. Because you can read here where it says white to white, you're going to get nothing. But white to red should be 30 to 120. I was getting 5 or nothing. So each one of these I would go through and I would check. Each one of these I would go through and check to see what it would match up to be and everything. There was a lot of overload, a lot of just not working. Let me grab the tester and I will show you. All right, so I got my little volt ohm tester here. I'm going to set it to what it says here. So go down to 20, turn her on. You see right here it just says OL, overload. So we're going to start here. You can see this piece is on a white wire. We're going to go to the first one, which is red, which is directly across from it. So it's going to be hard for me to show you while doing this. But I'm going to connect it here. You see it's supposed to say 30 to 120. Nothing. It is connected, it is touching. It's nothing. So let's go to the black. See what black says. Go over to black. It's supposed to be 1580. Still says nothing. And then red and green. That's supposed to be 60 to 250. Still nothing. See black and red, which is right next door. See now that one, black and red, it's supposed to be 15 to 80. And we're sitting, it's climbing up a little bit, but it's barely 12 and a half. Let's see, black and white. Nothing, but that's not supposed to be anything. And then the blue and red, that one is supposed to be 1580. That is at 8. So there are some issues inside of this. There is a company that I looked up, and brand new for this part is like $475. And to me, that's not worth it. I would, if I couldn't find something better to do, I would end up just getting rid of the whole thing, parting out the whole bike. But on the plus side, I did find there's a company out there that you can send this to, and they do it for $200. You pay shipping to them, they fix it, and then they ship it back, which is better. I will agree with that. But I ended up going on eBay and searching. I ended up just searching up this top. I ended up searching both numbers. So I searched the bottom, I searched the top. If you look on Partzilla, it tells you that the CDI for this bike is a one-off and that it doesn't fit any other bike. At least the first time I looked. So I looked at the 85 and 86 models, and I had the same part number. So I went through, typed it in, started doing some online searching, and this CDI actually fits quite a few bikes. So it fits this, the KLR 650s, the KLR 250. So there's a couple different machines that this actually fits on. You can get the cheap one from China. I think it's like $35, but you're going to be waiting at least a month. And then I ended up buying this one. Oh, got a little visitor up there. Let me see him. There he is. Sorry, ADD. So I ended up buying this one here for around $50 to get it shipped, which is way better than sending that one out over there for $200 or buying a brand new one. I also replaced the voltage regulator here. Same thing. This part is universal with a lot of bikes. Thank God. So like these wires here are for the brake, which is fine. So that doesn't have to be hooked up. This power wire here is for the fan for the radiator. So this is all stuff that I had to go through and figure out what went where and what did what. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Put the new CDI on, put the new voltage regulator on. Now, as mentioned before, this is kickstart only. This is not electric start. I ended up taking the drill over there and sticking it on here and remove the cap here to get it to spin over, and it's got beautiful spark. Great spark, no worries. So that's a win. It's a huge plus. All right, so jump box hooked up, lights are on, key is on, new CDI is in, new voltage regulator is on, and I'm doing it the cheap way. Don't know if I'm gonna be able to hold this and do it at the same time, but let's give it a shot. She has spark. One step closer. So now it's going to be to start piecing things together, ordering the pieces that I need, like the air box. I need the radiators. I'm not going to worry too much about the shrouds that go around the radiator here, or the side fairings here. I do have one side plastic for this side, but I don't have the one for this side. I have the tank, the seat, the tailpiece has already come in the mail. Got that already. It's a little dirty, but she'll be all right. But it's just going to be, from here on out, ordering the pieces, slowly piecing everything together. I believe this thing is going to need a clutch, because this clutch just feels, there's nothing there. I'm squeezing the lever and it's just crap. This also needs the spring in here for it to bring it back, and then it needs the spring inside the engine. Oh, it actually kicked back up that time. Cool. It didn't do that before. But I'm sure I'll replace it anyway. The oil in this thing is nasty. It's gross. I don't know if it's got a blown head gasket because it's very milky. I'm not sure if maybe water was left in it and it broke something internally. I really hope not. Or maybe the spark plug was loose in there, and I believe it sat outside. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just looking at all the rust and everything that's on this thing, so I'm sure it sat outside for a while. The guy we got it from said he put oil down the cylinder and it was free. He had no issues with that. So on the plus side, that's good. Obviously it's moving, but now it's kind of getting it to start, really. I want to hear it start, I want to hear it run, but I'm going to change the oil in it tonight. I'm just going to throw some 1030 that I picked up. It takes 2.1 quarts, I believe. So I'm going to drain the oil, take the filter out, clean it out real good with some brake clean, put it back in there, and then run the fresh oil and kind of see what it does. Yeah. I won't know if there's a blown head gasket until I get a radiator system to start putting fluid in it. I could probably rig up some type of pressure system. I do have one hose here. You know, this is the inlet, that's the return. So somewhere along the line, I'll figure it out. I'm just hoping that it doesn't have a bad head gasket. Even if it does, it's still not going to be that hard. Well, it'll suck because we have to remove the entire engine to get everything out. But we'll figure that out if that's the case. And only if that's the case. I threw these grips on real quick because we had them laying around. That one was destroyed. And then there wasn't one on this one. The tube was broken. You see it's broken, been dropped. So it came with another throttle cable assembly here. This one had 2 cables on it. I'm not sure if that's from the later year or from the newer year than this one, or if it's from the 250. This was the hand grip that was on it, so I took it off. Garbage you go. And I took the tube off, which is nice. With these is that these end pieces here just slide off, which now won't come off. These end pieces slide off, so I was able just to use the tube from the other one because the inside is different from this one. So put it on, set it up. You can see the cables moving down there. But I'm going to pull this carburetor off. We're going to clean it up. I'm going to go from there. I'm just going to slowly work into it. I would love to hear this thing start tonight, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Now, the other thing is too, that I see on these head bolts, you can see there's actual bolts on this side. But on this side here, somebody has put some screws in here. I hope that these machine screws are the same thread and that, you know, they just set them in there because they lost them. But it looks like they put some goop around there. I'm gonna have to order new seals for this, and then the bolts to get all that correct. I'm just gonna have to make a list like we did Money Pit and just start checking it off as I go, because I'm not sure how all of this is gonna go. All right, so I'm gonna stop talking now, and yeah, I'm gonna pull the carb off and we'll see what it looks like. So pull the carburetor off, nice and easy. There was nothing else really attached to it. Everything had already been taken off. Loosen up the clamp for the end. But all in all, this actually doesn't look too bad in here. It's a little dirty over here. You'll see a little bit of crudiness in there, but got some brushes up on the wall and some good old carb cleaner. Let's open up this bottom and see what it looks like. All these screws are loose. I don't know if that's a good sign. This means that somebody was in here before. You can also tell by the way the screws are all marred up, which is going to happen no matter what. Yeah, there are a couple different screws. Pop this off. And oh God, I don't know if you guys saw that, but that's so what happens with the ethanol gas. Oxidizes everything you can see in there. But on the plus side, everything in here looks free. The float's free. I'm going to go through and clean all of this out the best that I can. Got a pick to get down in there on some of this stuff. I'll remove my gasket here so I don't warp it, because carburetor cleaner will warp those rubber O-rings. Let this guy fill up here. A good place for that to sit. All right, there we go. Let's see if this guy will pop out. Perfect. Come out. This is not horrible. Definitely not the best. Yeah. The ethanol and the gas will eat away at this stuff. So, fortunately, stuff is pretty nasty. I don't know if that's all. It could just be from being open. Like I said, the oil is very milky, so it could just be from that. Spray it a little bit here. See, it's gonna come off. Let's pop this top off and go from there. Now, I know I have extra carburetors laying around here somewhere, and most of these screws are all pretty much the same. So we'll have to see if I can track one of them down to source out some of these screws, or just go buy new ones in the morning. Either way. I guess that's all that. Oof. Let me grab a box here. Oops. Alright. Take these, stick them all in my box so I do not lose them. I knock them off the bench accidentally. Alright, let's pull this out. Everything slid out nice and easy. The boot on this doesn't look ripped. Spacer on this. Okay. Looks like pretty much everything in here is stock. I can only assume. These little brushes that I have, these are all new. So it's just a regular bristle brush. This one's a little bit stiffer. This is a brass. So stiff, not so stiff, even less stiff. Looks a lot better. Got a lot of that corrosion off. You can see the frame got spray painted with the carburetor open. I don't know how well you could see it, but it's the discoloration on it. Our little bird friend is hopping around in here. I don't think he likes the smell. Right. Alright, you can see she's getting better. I'm not going to be able to get all the little wrong one, nooks and crannies, but get what I can, and then Alright, so I'm going to continue working on this thing. One thing I will point out for the jets and stuff, got a little kit here. You can buy them on Amazon, eBay, and they're just basically like pipe cleaners. You take it, set it right on down through. It'll help break up everything if there is anything stuck down in there. They come in really handy on, you know, things that are plugged. So, it's okay. So yeah, I'm gonna keep cleaning, and when I'm all done, I'll I guess I'll show you. Alright, so I went through and I cleaned the crud out of the bowl here. But there's such... Let's see if I can get this better. There's such deterioration in this bowl that I don't know how long it's going to be good for. You can see where it has worn down quite a bit here and here. I mean, that's not even level anymore. Pits right down in there. A lot of pitting in this carburetor. So I might have to try and find a new bowl. So, with that said, this is not very good. I'm going to put it back together, and I'm going to call it, you know, good enough for now. But it is what it is. Nothing like fun projects. Alright, so I'm going to put this back together, but I wanted to show you guys what was going on in the carburetor bowl here, about how bad that pitting is and how bad it is in there. I don't know if it's worth even sticking it back together. It hasn't worn a hole through yet, but it's probably about halfway. Alright, I'm going to finish putting it back together, and maybe we can fire over tonight. I'll let you know. Alright, so I went through, put the carburetor back together, reinstalled it. I have the choke cable all hooked up in there, run up. The only thing I don't like is the way it runs like this. Doesn't quite go around the bar. So I'm guessing that's the way it's going to have to run. I'll have to figure it out. Maybe this is the wrong cable, which is a very good possibility. The other one, I never even checked to see if the other one was longer, but the other one's frozen, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so I was going to pull the drain plug. I wanted y'all to see what this looked like. Oh, there you go. It's gross. I don't know if that's water in the case or if it's just... Oh yeah, look at that. That's I don't know. Could be water. It's definitely it's not shiny, which is a good thing, I guess. Gotta remove the other plug that's here to drain out whatever is in here. Even more there. I don't know, that doesn't look like head gasket. I think that's whatever he put down the head. Maybe. I'm not sure. A lot of gas in it though. Poof. I will say that there's a lot of... Smells very strong of gas. Alright, so this is the only plug that I found for the drain. That and this. This was a 11/16. That was an 8mm. So I believe that's the only two. On the other side, there's two 8mm bolts to remove the filter, which I will go over and do once this is done draining. I'm just going to kind of let this sit and drip on out. I might even pour a little bit of oil that I have laying around. Alright, so oil filter here is on the right hand side of the bike. And I went through, I cleaned the filter a little bit. There is another, you got two holes here. You got one here, one here. At the bottom of this one here, there is a 12mm bolt. And this whole tube is filled with oil. So, and it was pretty gross. Just like everything else you'd seen. So, now with essentially all the oil drained out, we'll put everything back together, throw some oil in it, kick it over a couple times, and go from there. But I just wanted to let you guys know that about this bolt that is down here. to get the remainder of the oil out. Now, if there wasn't whatever water was in the oil or whatever it was, whatever it is, if that wasn't in there, then probably wouldn't even have to worry about it. But because it's there, I'm glad I found it. And yeah, like I said, just want to make sure that you guys know what I found out. All right, I'm gonna continue on, and we'll go from there. All right, so this is gonna be the first kickover with fuel. I have a little Arizona bottle here that I had set up, put a hose in, drilled the vent hole in the top. I'm not going to run it long because there's not any antifreeze in it, so I can at least turn the choke on. And oh, I did not hook up the throttle cable, so let me do that real quick. Hold on. Alright, now the throttle cable is on. I'm not sure how I'm going to kick this. Set this up, bring her all the way down. I'll have to go from there, I guess. Turn on, from what I've read online, I don't need to have a battery in it for it to run. But I'm at least going to turn it on, turn on my little jump pack here, so I know I'm getting what's supposed to be there. Everything's where it's supposed to be, and see what happens. Oof. Compression. I'll give her a little extra go-go juice. See what happens. I think my bottle's gonna fall. Whew. All right, let me rethink this here. I'm going to rethink what I'm doing here and see what happens. Alright, as you can see, it's not running. I switched my Crocs to boots. Or really, a boot. She did kick back at me a time or two. I didn't adjust the float correctly, so it's leaking fuel. But now I think I'm to the point where I flooded it. So I'm gonna pull the spark plug out, check it out, and yeah. Whew. I am out of breath. These things probably would have been really nice with a decompression lever on it.
All right, so The last clip you guys saw of the KL, because I was editing the video this week, was Stitches kicking it over, and he said he was going to pull the spark plug and see what he found because he flooded the engine. That was how many months ago?
Oh, God.
9?
Something like that.
It was like 8 or 9 months ago. So, it was summer when he did that. We are now in the middle of winter. Obviously, 9 months. That's what happens. But Stitches is going to go through and explain where we're at with it and what happened.
It got parked back there, and that's where we're at.
You never showed parts. Do you have the parts available or are they put away?
They're all put away. Everything's put away.
You want to tell them what you ordered?
Honestly, I don't remember what I ordered.
You ordered radiators?
Oh, yeah.
Radiator guards?
Nope.
I thought you got the guards for it, the one guard.
It came with one guard, but
Yeah.
I was still missing another. But again, it's hard parts to find. Yeah, radiators. I don't remember everything I bought. Key switch.
Well, that we saw in the video.
You know, that stuff. Other than that, really, I bought a valve cover gasket. That's up in that mess.
Did you get the shock rebuild kit?
Nope.
You didn't even do that yet?
Nope. Other projects got in the way, so.
So when you guys saw it, basically, like in the clips, you saw that my camper was still in the background, and that was something that didn't get finished. And that by the time that video was done, we uploaded the camper video in like August or September. So
Like that, yeah.
you know that the camper got done. That project was done. There's several projects that we had, several things that we've done that we haven't even posted yet. There's like 3 new motorcycles in the stable. Yeah, we've got projects and we have videos that are pretty much done. The next video I wanted to put out is the KLR. And unfortunately, Stitches went through that night, kicked it over, flooded the engine, and then it got late, he got tired, he went inside, went to sleep, and then I think like the next day or 2 days later, we went and we started working on my camper some more to get it done.
Everything got put aside. We finished your camper so we could do that camping trip.
Yep.
And then, here we are. Yeah, that's it.
So, the KLR will be finished at some point, like everything else.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. This is why we don't ever finish anything, because Stitch just doesn't wear a watch. So, he checks time, and every day feels the same.
I use the sundial.
Yeah. There's not a lot of sun this time here.
Never mind.
So, yeah, it's kind of where we got to with the KLR.
Yep.
If you like this kind of content, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell to stay up to date, see if we ever pull one of these projects really in the shop.
Oh.
Find us on Instagram at rusted_nut_repair, and
We'll see you next time.